Grip socks are great, and now they're even better with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Better fit, moisture wicking, amazing comfort, and all the extra grip you need. Choose from 10 different colors for just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
Now, normally when I'm talking about football boots that offer great value for money, I'm talking about takedown models from the big brands. And there are some great ones out there. However, there are also some takedown models that quite simply aren't worth it. But what if I told you for those takedown model prices, you can actually get a top-end football boot if you're not afraid of trying something outside of the more well-known football boot brands? Ladies and gentlemen, the Lotto Solista 204, which is technically a new model, and the only reason why I say technically is because it replaces the Lotto Solista 203, which is the same football boot with different graphics, but nonetheless, this is a top quality football boot that bears a retail price of 145 euros, which is roughly about 150 bucks, way less expensive than top-end models you're gonna find from any other brand out there. And for those that have been watching the channel lately, I recently reviewed the laceless big brother of this football boot in the Solista 104 Gravity. A lot of these names absolutely suck, by the way. Those two offering really good value for money at $200, which isn't cheap, but in comparison to other top-end laceless boots out there, $75 less than the competition. Nonetheless, the Solista 204 is a really solid value for money football boot, and I want to talk about why that is in today's video. And not only is it really good value for money, I think it offers something very unique in today's football boot market, given how much change there has been over the last 2 years or so in the speed boot category, which personally, I would classify this as a speed boot. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire video. And if you are by chance interested in a pair for yourself, you can actually pick them up below their normal retail price by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes by checking out the first link down below. So starting things off, from a technical perspective, the Solista 204 is actually a very simple pair of football boots in that it's a knitted upper with a one-piece construction, a central lacing system, and most of the structure to this knitted upper, while you can see it has these lines that run the length of the football boot, that structure is coming from the lacing system as well as the synthetic liner on the inside that is extremely soft against your foot and also is backed by a little bit of padding. So the touch on the ball is quite thin, but it does have some nice softness to it, which really offers this barefoot sensation, but also a very sock-like feel on your foot. A good balance of feel and comfort in my opinion. And if I had to compare the feel of this football boot and the feel of this upper to anything else out there, it's actually pretty reminiscent of the X18.1 and X19.1, which of course are now several generation old speed boots from the Adidas brand. Again, I think there's a perception that older is worse. Not necessarily the case here. If you really like those speed boots and you can't get your hands on them anymore, you can get these for less money than those were. However, unlike those Adidas speed boots, the laces run directly down the middle on this one and actually run a little bit deeper as well, which I think allows for more adjustability and overall a very snug fit. I think the shape that they've gone for with this football boot is a little bit unusual in that it seems to be higher volume through the midfoot with decent width, and then very low volume through the forefoot and toe box area, which I think you'll be able to see pretty clearly when I have the boots on feet. But nonetheless, the fit of the boot is very high quality, and I think what you would expect from a top-end product, let alone from a brand like Lotto that once upon a time was extremely desirable, but they have since fallen off quite significantly. Of course, you're gonna find a low-cut construction, which again, in some ways is kind of reminiscent to Adidas, I'll admit that. But you can see that it does feature this really nicely padded heel liner on the inside, made from a synthetic suede material that offers a nice secure feel on your heel. I think it's a little bit shallower than I would like it to be, but in general, they feel secure, and after a little bit of wear time, very comfortable. Break-in time in general with this football boot is almost non-existent. It's more so a matter of getting used to the way they feel rather than actually breaking them in. And then the insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a really soft lining material on the surface, and then it's made from a single layer of this black foam, which is actually surprisingly dense. And honestly, durability, really high quality. As for the sole plate and stud pattern, it's the same as what you're gonna find on the laceless variation and the same as what you're gonna find on the model this replaces. It features their Punto Flex sole plate, which is basically this flex groove through the forefoot, but the material that this is made out of, the type of plastic they've used, gives this a much stiffer, more responsive feel than I think you might expect based on how simple it looks. Plenty of structure through the midfoot and heel as well, and I also really like the external heel counter on a pair of speed boots in general, so love the fact that it has that. As far as the FG stud pattern is concerned, it definitely trends on more of the traditional side of things and is less aggressive compared to what you're gonna find from some of the top brand speed boots out there, with mostly conical studs. Some of them have this kind of Pac-Man shape to them, but in general, it provides really solid traction and is kind of reminiscent of the Nike Tiempo stud pattern if I had to compare it to anything else out there. So not necessarily a standout in terms of providing as much bite as possible, which you may or may not want from a pair of speed boots, but in terms of getting the job done on firm natural grass playing surfaces, I think it's a pretty solid layout. And then there's the weight, where as you'd expect from a pair of speed boots, these are very lightweight. In a size 9.5 US, you can see that the boots weigh in at 7 ounces, 6.95 ounces, sorry, the equivalent of 197 grams, which as it stands right now is actually lighter than a pair of Nike Mercurial Vapor 14 Elites in the same size. Not by much, we're only talking about a couple of grams, but considering those retail for $250 and these retail for $150, I think that says a lot about how much you're getting in terms of value for money. On feet, there's no other way to put it, these feel really good. The knitted upper is very soft and super flexible on your feet, so no real break-in time there. I think the shape of the boot is something that you're either gonna love or hate, although in general, I think the boots fit really well. The low volume through the forefoot and toe box area is definitely the unique aspect of the shape of this football boot, in that it does fit very closely, but if you find that you have typically a hard time with tightness around the toe box area, these might be a little bit too tight for you. So definitely something to be aware of. But in general, I think these are football boots that are gonna fit most people quite comfortably. The sole plate feels great underfoot. The heel lockdown is really good. I think the fit could be a little bit less shallow through the heel, but I don't think it's detrimental to the feel or performance of the boot. Once I start playing in them, it's not something that I really pay attention to anymore. So overall, I think Lotto's done a really good job here, although it must be said, they're not different than the Solista 203 that these replace. It's just a new graphics package, which I must admit does look really, really cool. As far as width is concerned, they definitely have decent width to them, to the point where they're gonna fit most people. Again, just be aware of that volume through the forefoot and toe box area being on the lower side. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, while these are very simple football boots, I think they're also very effective football boots in terms of everything on the boot as a feature being there for a reason and doing its job quite well. I think this is a style of football boot that has more or less kind of gone away from the big three brands that have all trended towards these more plasticky synthetic materials in the speed boot category. And if you're looking for something that has that sock-like knitted upper that once upon a time, not very long ago, was extremely popular, your options are now a lot more limited. I don't think the Phantom GT2 with its fly-knit upper feels very soft on feet. I don't think the Future Z is a great comparison to this product, and Adidas in general doesn't really offer a soft knit upper anymore. So I think your only other alternative to something like this would actually be the New Balance Furon 6 Plus Pro, which admittedly, given the choice between those and these, I'd probably end up with those New Balance boots, which you can regularly get on sale, given that they're also not very popular. But coming in a very close second for this style of football boot would be the Solista 204. I think for the money that it costs and the fact that you're gonna be able to get them on sale relatively soon, so for around $100, I think that this is a football boot that you absolutely cannot go wrong with. And again, it goes to show that while Lotto is no longer a big name in football boots, they're still a very capable brand and making some excellent product with value in mind.